to the comms pouch, as I call it, the Nut and Fancy U.S.K. First up, whistles. Not just one, but two of them. These are probably the most effective and reliable communication and safety devices you can have. I've talked about them in other kit videos and my extended stay backpacking series of vids, of course, and each one is lanyarded up with hollowed out 550 cord. Now some guys will say, well, the lanyard is tied at the end. Isn't that a choking hazard? Yep, it is, kind of. There's a way you can mitigate that. I'm going to show you on the lanyard on this Motorola Talkabout. Yep, got one of them. We'll show you that here in just a second. For this, I just opted to tie it though. You could put a toggle at the end of it if it concerns you, or buy a ready-made lanyard. Fox 40 whistles are awesome. They're peeless, they work in the water and out, they don't freeze up, and all those attendant cool things about them. A lot of guys will like the Storm series of whistles, but they're much larger than this one, take up more room, although the newer versions are more streamlined and compact. Also a great option. This is just one of many. Also, I have one of Allie's dog training whistles in here that I don't use because I have other ones. This is a Raygonia Special. It has a P in it. Why that? Why did I opt that one? It's very compact. Look how compact that whistle is. And it's just loud. Both of these whistles are excellent. They're loud, very distinctive, attention getting. But this one with the whistle, with the P or the cork P you see in there, just rocks, and it gets people's attention. I don't anticipate it being in a maritime environment with my U.S.K, so I just have one of each variety. Two of them. Why two? Because dudes, remember, the guys that you're going to find yourself around and girls are not going to be prepared. You may have to I can pretty much guarantee you're going to have some individual that's willing to help, but they just don't have any preparedness items with them. Maybe you could loan them a whistle. Maybe you could have a series of communication beeps that you're going to use. Hey, 3 for this, 2 for that, whatever. One long sustained for this. It means a certain thing when you hear it. Maybe you're searching for people who are buried in rubble, and your companion or your buddy that has a whistle can give you one long sustained, blast of the whistle to say, I found someone, everybody come to where I am. And then with that whistle, he's easy to locate. You see all the versatility that a whistle gives you. Also, if you're being attacked, at least in rule of law situations where maybe you want to summon help, the whistle absolutely rocks. Spilling out of the zip mesh pouch, remember this is a comms pouch of the U.S.K, is the flare pin. Previously talked about, I don't know about reviewed, talked about in my extended stay backpacking series of videos. Now, I bought this flare pin years ago at that pawn shop. I think I told you guys this. It's not issue, it's not military, and it's the predecessor for the Gyrojet flare pin, which I don't have. Maybe one day I'll get, but it's excellent. What is a flare pin for you guys that don't know what the heck I'm talking about? And by the way, this sheath didn't come with it. This is a Magpul $2.99 Maglite sheath, and it just works perfectly for this. I've upgraded. I think when I did my extended stay, I had a different sheath, cheesy, much better, very affordable. But what this does is this is obviously a signaling device, preferably at night. It's going to be more visible. And you see these things that I use. How you doing? Paintball tubes. I've got 10 rounds. Are 10 flares in there. They're separated by dry cotton, so the primer on the base of each round isn't bumped or abused over time as it's transported to storage. And you take these out. I'm not going to do it because I don't want to have to put them back. Screw them in here, and then there's a firing pin. It impacts the base of that primer, and there is a charge that goes up, and it's kind of incendiary in nature, and it creates a signal. It travels up a couple 100 feet. Helicopters, search parties can see it. It's a great way, again, in rule of law, for the rescue services, emergency services, to find out where you are. A good example of this, maybe not for urban, but Katrina. There was a lot of Coast Guard helicopters, and by the way, I participated in that relief effort myself, going down there and helping people out, hauling them out. But the Coast Guard helicopters were looking for people on the roof. What a great way to signal them. Hey, I'm over here. It's nightfall. See the flare, and the helo can come and start, affecting rescue. Do you need to have this? Absolutely not. Nice to have? Yeah, it is. Could you use it for other things? Yeah, it would scare the heck out of somebody if you shot it at them. Wouldn't hurt them. Sure scare them, though. you know, something cool to have. Again, I think the gyrojet version of these, I think they're sold by certain places. I've seen them at Brigade Quartermasters. I don't know if they still have them. Is a superior version of this. Again, like I mentioned in my other vids, the gyrojet has a capability to penetrate heavy canopy. Not a player in urban environment, I know. But more importantly, it also travels up higher than these little ones do. These don't go very high, maybe 150 feet, I forget, something like that. Beats the heck out of just waving your arms though. So that is a flare pin in the comms pouch. Next up, and you've already seen these poking through, Motorola talkabouts. Don't get too bent out of shape of which model do you have, Nut and Fancy. Not really important. Couple things, and I'm not going to spend too much time in this because a lot of guys want a whole review on two-way radios. Maybe one day I'll get time. Right now, I just don't have it. Couple caveats. You're never going to get the range out of your talkabouts that they say you're going to get. You just won't. They're going to be much less than they say, but it's good to have. And you don't need two. You can just go with one talkabout. Why just one? Because it's on the FRS band. These are not GMRS. It might have a couple GMRS freaks, but I think they're FRS, Family Radio Service Bands, and those type of talkabouts are pretty prevalent everywhere. If you were to get buried into some rubble or something like that and you didn't have your cell phone, or your cell phone died, and let me talk to that real quick. I'll come right back to the talkabout issue. And I meant to give this as an intro. Dang, where did my cell phone go? There it is. Your cell phone is a part of your daily life, right? By the way, this is a Timbuk2 carrier. I don't think Timbuk2 makes this particular brand anymore. It's a shame because for my size of cell phone, it's the absolute best there is. It goes on a pack strap, a belt, as you can see, has additional carry capabilities for my cell phone, okay, which is currently an LG, okay? So anyways, your cell phone is part of your daily life. It is part of your U.S.K as well. You should have it on your person at all times. You should have an extra battery with that, which I do in my U.S.K. Maybe a recharger with you as well. It's your primary communication device. Doesn't mean the networks will be up. Doesn't mean the cell towers are going to be working. You know that. They probably won't be working, but it's your prime job one. Is having your cell phone up with backup capability. Okay, this is down, busted, lost, don't have it. Remember the redundancy concept I talked about foundationally? Here we go. Talk about radio. You're buried in that rubble, cell phone isn't working, you can't connect, towers are down. You have another way to reach out to people, okay, with this. Lots of different frequencies, lots of different features. I think this one actually has a light on the bottom as well. Somewhere, I haven't used this one like a ton. You see me use it in the run and guns. Anyways, that's, again, I don't buy it for that. You're going to get, maybe if you're lucky, a mile out of your talkabouts. Some other disadvantages to having them, and again, this is just a broad stroke, kind of some considerations, is your batteries are going to continually discharge with current technology in these talkabout radios. They're nickel metal hydride. Okay, that's a downside. The upside is they will take AA batteries, 1, 2, 3. So you should have enough AA lithium batteries to go in the amount of talkabouts that you have for contacting people, talking to the outside world if you need to. Great way to go. Why do I have two? Well, it kind of goes back to the team concept, right? The team concept being that I have a fellow rescuer, maybe we're going in, helping other people. I give him a talkabout. Dude, here's a frequency. I give him a quick, detail or instruction about how to use it. Don't put your mouth right against the microphone. That's one thing people do. They always talk right up to it. No, about 3 inches away, 4 or 5, something like that. Works best for a talkabout. And then we have communications. Downside is they're battery intensive and you don't have a lot of capabilities, even in a very thorough U.S.K like this, to do it. And that's assuming you can't recharge it, you don't have your rechargers, you're going to go through batteries. So use them judiciously, smart. It's good to have talkabout radios. Incidentally, here's that lanyard system I showed you, and some guys say, why don't you use the belt clip that came with them? By the way, this pair of talkabout radios was bought for like $48 at Costco. Okay, and I didn't buy it just for the U.S.K. Like I said, I've used them in running guns before, but if I dedicate it to a U.S.K, remember, it's a write-off concept. They're in there forever. Occasionally, I'll take them out and recharge that battery, and then I have lithium backups again. But back to the belt clip, some guys say, why don't you use a belt clip to come with it? I've never seen those not break on me, having used talkabouts for well over a decade. They always snap off, they break, they fail at the worst possible times. Lanyard them up, just like this. I thread it through right here. Most radios can do that. You don't have to have Motorola's either. Cobra makes some good ones. Midland makes some. Go to Amazon.com, read the reviews by the consumers that have bought them. That's your best information source on which ones are best. The Costco variety, again, generally won't be listed by specific model number, and I don't know exactly which ones these are. But that's a good information source. But still trying to finish talking about the lanyard. Hollowed out 550 cord. This was ACU in nature, and there's that toggle system I talked about with no knots. If I jerk this down really hard, it's going to come detached, and that's a great anti-choke method for any lanyard you want to use. Then I just melted the ends. I should probably melt them again because that's kind of sharp against the skin, and you'll know that. Talking from experience, it'll irritate the skin. Talk about radios, nice to have. Generally in your U.S.K, one is good. You don't need two, but again, teamwork concept. There you have it. Lights. I put that in my communications pouch. Why? Because it's a signaling method. First and foremost, I recommend the exact system previously reviewed in the Nut and Fancy project. The Phoenix headband with a single AA cell multi-mode flashlight. This is the L1D, also reviewed in the Nut and Fancy project. There's other ones like the Nitecore D10 and numerous other high-quality options out there that you can use as long as it fits in the Phoenix headband. Some guys will say, well, the Phoenix has a dedicated headlamp out. Don't you like that better? Nope, I do not. I still like this the best. Man, I've shown it to you all kinds of times. High skies, I was hiking out with it, multiple run and guns. It's a system that just works. Why? Because multi-mode, extremely bright. There's a low, medium, high, and then maybe in our urban survival situation, we tap it again and we have our SOS function, right? Nice to have. We rotate the bezel, and then we access the turbo mode and maybe strobe as well if we need that. Signaling capability as well. Maybe we're on some type of vehicle we want to be seen. That is the Phoenix L1D in a headband. Just an awesome light. They're still available. I see as of the filming of this series, January 2010, they're available at Amazon.com. Around $50, maybe a little bit more, maybe a little bit less. Great light. Running lithium batteries. I'm not going to unscrew it to show you. Everything is lithium. Granted, that one radio wasn't, but that needs to be changed. Everything's lithium because it's lighter weight and they last. So when you need it, it's going to be available. That's the first light in there. This is going to be your most used light, by the way. Something that's hands-free, bright. And these L1Ds are ones like it. It's not just a Phoenix. It's not the only game in town. Are just so capable. Again, having used it in so many different situations out in the desert, in the woods, just impressive. Absolutely dominates the Petzl lights. There's just no comparison. The Phoenix headband actually comes with two holders. I guess the idea is you'd have like I mentioned in the review, you'd have another light on your other side. It has a top strap for extra batteries. That's too much complexity, too much weight and bulk. Just run it the way I'm showing you right here. This is plenty. It's high speed. It works. Again, the band will loosen occasionally. This is probably going to be your major way to search for people and find your way out of a situation. Secondly, we have another light. You've seen it, the LD20, previously reviewed in the Nut and Fancy project. Great light. No, it's not the only game in town. There's other great lights as well to include Nitecore varieties, O lights, on and on. I still love the LD20, L2D, I'm sorry, I think I said LD20, but this is an L2D variety. They're basically the same light. Multi-mode, exact the same mode as I showed you before. Excellent. And the advantage of this is that also with me, and I've talked about these in my light reviews, here's those light cones, and they snap on both of these lights. See, there's my lantern. I rotate it to turbo mode. Ultra cool, and we've talked about that. That is an area lighting system where I don't have to use anything incendiary, like flame of any sort or candles. Works great. And then if I rotate to a lower setting, then I can light an area for a long time with those lithium batteries. Signal cone. There's the orange one. Talked about that. This would be a great way to direct traffic. What? Direct traffic? Yeah, it might be just you. You know, you might be the dude controlling the scene. Maybe you need something like this to signal. Wave down the helicopter, the rescue services. There's all types of situations where I would like to have these capabilities. Incidentally, this would probably be your primary searchlight. Okay, it might be dark, scary, and I don't know, whatever. And you might be looking for dudes that are trapped. The Phoenix L2D in this particular version of a U.S.K. is your primary searchlight with a backup. There's that principle of redundancy again. See how that works? With a backup of an L1D. Both running the same cells. In this case, AA lithium batteries, ever-ready variety. You could use CR123 cell lights. You know, this would be a CR123 as long as it fits in the Phoenix headband. For my system, what I recommend, you could run that. I find that those lithium AA's though are impressive. They last and last and last. Is there a better light that you could use for a search situation? Absolutely. It's going to add complexity and weight to your system though. God, this is going to be a multi-part series, man. It's just digging through my bin. How about the Phoenix TA21? Previously reviewed in the Nut and Fancy project. Love this light. Very positive review. What a great searchlight this is. Great searchlight. You know, it has that rotating mechanical dimmer switch that you can access all the levels, and it's more powerful than this, no doubt. Lots of different functions, but it's heavier and it uses a different power source. Is that really what you want to put in your U.S.K. to carry along another battery? Up to you. Again, it's all about choices, but as you will see as we progress item by item, I'm pretty much out of space. So I've opted for the L1D, L2D scenario. It could be the LD22 or any of its other more advanced brethren, doesn't matter. That's a reflective Kel-Tec lanyard on there. Again, I can shine on it and find it immediately with my secondary light. Pressing on in the comms pouch. Oh, you know what? This is a mistake. I have this in here. This was an option. This is a P3D. Speaking of a CR123 cell light, it was still in there. The reason I had it there is because I want to show you and make it as an option. Okay, so it runs different cells. 123 cells. Are they more capable? Yeah, they are. Generally more reliable, but again, I'm having good experience with those AA lithiums and good burn times. Relatively speaking, I think the burn time on this will be a little bit longer. Same lanyard, another option for you. Signal mirror. Talked about in my extended stay series of videos. You're going to need the sunshine and a little bit of expertise to use this. If you get lost, you can always read the instructions on the back. By the way, I recommend this one, the Gerber. It's polycarbonate, not glass, very lightweight, easy to use. Yes, in the military I've used this a lot in survival training and is extremely effective. Extremely effective. You can use it for other things too, you know, hygiene purposes, I don't know. But primarily it's a signaling device and it weighs all of 2 ounces, or actually less than that, about 1.5 ounces. Goes in the comm pouch because you're going to try to reach emergency services. Yes, perhaps even in an urban environment. Let me put this stuff away and then we'll press on. Okay, that was the comms pouch. Let's dig into the outside pocket of this Kel-Tec day pack. Remember I told you to have a spare cell phone battery that's charged up. There it is in a plastic bag in an accessory pocket on the interior. You want to have your charger? Have your charger as well. Sweatband. Why? Because I sweat a lot. I think you're going to be working hard in a survival situation. Again, you might be helping emergency crews, affecting rescue, hiking a long way. The possibilities are endless. That's just me. For my physiology, I need this. It helps a lot. Otherwise, down into the eyes, the sweat comes and it just becomes a pain in the butt. Especially if I have sunscreen spread all over my head. Also, more redundancy. Streamlight Stylus Pro, previously reviewed in the Nut and Fancy project. And no, it's not like, when I do that, by the way, I'm not trying to be facetious or funny or anything, but I use the things that I like. That's what Nut and Fancy project is about. I'm not trying to, I don't get any kickbacks from or payments from these guys that I review and review positively. This is just high value gear that works. And so what do? I roll it into a system like this because it's a component I trust and I recommend. Here again is another one. Streamlight Stylus Pro. Just look at the review if you want to know the specifics. Why do I have this though? Because it's readily accessible here. Remember I said if I can just find my U.S.K, my Urban Survival Kit, I know just by feel I can locate this. That's a nice thing about this flashlight. It has a rubber end, and you'll know that that's not a pin. There's a writing instrument in there as well. But I can say, oh, that's my light, and bam, I got my light. Now I can start doing stuff, you know, and accessing and reacting and doing what I need to do to survive, extricate myself, on and on. Have it right there in a pen pocket. And yeah, I like having a pen pocket where it's writing, reflective lanyard on there as well, just in case I have another light accessing it. There's a blade on the exterior. Buck Vantage Select, previously reviewed. Here we go again. Great knife, great EDC blade, utility blade, maybe emergency defensive, heaven forbid, like I always say that you would even have to use that. But yeah, you could. Great deep carry pocket clip. It's the only, and this is just one of many knives you could have here. You could have a Spyderco Delica, an Endura, you know, a Kershaw blade, oh so sweet. On and on would be the great mid-size pocket clip type of blade that you would have on your U.S.K. Notice it's readily accessible right here from an exterior pocket, because I may have to cut, you know, some things, you know, rope, clothing to effect rescue of an individual who's injured. Okay, and that's it. I think that pocket's empty. That was the exterior pocket on the Nut Fancy U.S.K. Let's go in the main compartment. I like these too. The compression straps on the side, nice, because I got lots of crap in there, as you can see. It's good to really lock that down, that load down, compress it so it stabilizes, doesn't rattle, and we make it as compact as possible. I told you guys that this was not the only rope I had. There's that hank of rope that I showed you, and sure enough, there we have some 550 cord. Why 550 cord? The better question is, why not 550 cord? Now, let's clarify something. This really, in my opinion, is not in any way repelling rope, okay? I don't see myself lowering myself down with 550 cord. It could be done if I doubled it over, maybe tripled it over, and I was very careful of the load I put on it. Could be done, but it's very stretchy, okay, like all nylon rope is. Not a primary way of doing it, but it serves so many other purposes. You know, lashing, lowering things to people. There might be someone who's stuck down in a building, crashed upon them, and you have an opening where you could lower food to them. 550 cord would be a great way to get it to them, couldn't you? Instead of just hucking down there and having it bounce off the debris and the concrete and stuff, and it doesn't get to them. That's just one of 1,000 ways this would be handy. You know, repairing stuff, forming all kinds of makeshift devices. 550 cord is paramount. Incidentally, notice what I've done. I cut out some tempered hardboard winder. Yeah, I did this. Why? Because you don't want to have it as it comes from the package. It will tangle on you, and it's just going to be a bird's nest of mess. You want to have it like this, where I can unwind it. It doesn't twist. You can meter off the amount you want. I gain a little extra weight, of course, by taking the hardboard winder with me. You could use a plastic one, but they're kind of hard to find. I recommend doing exactly like this. Take some 550 cord. I think this is around 100-foot hank or something like that. I've used it too. Nice to have. Next up, baby, water carry capability. This is a Nalgene, heavily used, by the way. I've backpacked with this particular container a lot. Nalgene wide mouth Mylar water container. I know I talked about this in my extended stay series of videos. Same thing plays. Why this? Well, Nut and Fancy, you already have a bottle of water. Why do you need both? Well, because water is your primary way to stay alive, dudes. Okay, you can go without food for a long time, but you may not go without water for a long time if you do not hydrate. And you're going to stop thinking clearly. You're going to start making stupid decisions. Have water. The water system in your city, in your urban environment, might be one of the very first things to go. If I do not have to egress immediately, that is, get myself out there, extricate, along with my office companions or my friends, then I might start thinking about filling this up. Getting some water capability wherever I'm at and storing it up. And I think key to that is having a water filtration system. Why? Because again, the water could be contaminated. It might not work very well. And I'm going to show you the filter here in a second. But I don't like the straw ways of filtering water where I have to take a straw and suck it up like that, because it's hard for me, actually impossible for me, to build up a supply. You know, if I fill this thing up, then I have a gallon of water with me plus this. Then I can help hydrate other people, you know, maybe share it. And if I have a filtration system, that even if the water system is compromised, or heck, you might not have a water system, you might have to filter out of a water fountain, a city water fountain or something. See where I'm going with this? Capabilities. And that's what you're going to have in this style of U.S.K. Take the water with you, and then again, maybe that carabiner comes into play where we can lock the full water container to the exterior of the pack. Maybe use some of the cord to lash it. See what we're talking about? Everything integrates into the system. Okay, I'm not gonna, the water filter's in here, so we'll get to that in a second. I have some food with me, by the way. Food? Yeah, why not? It's dehydrated, and don't worry about the brand. You know, I'm not really hard over. This is a Mountain House Chicken a la King frozen entree. What do I have in here? Still Mountain House chicken stew. Just 2 meals, that's all I can fit. Remember, size and weight constraint, SAWC. We'd like to have 7 with us, wouldn't we? Can't do it. This is pressing it as it is. You can see how full that backpack was. There's some other food I have in there, but this are 2 meals, very easily made. Why? Because as you saw, and I think I called this wrong, this is the MSR Pocket Rocket. Great little, compact, easy to use stove, and it attaches to that fuel cartridge I showed you earlier. Okay, and then I have a way to heat it up, right, in my canister or my titanium pan there. And you could use a canteen cup. Don't get wrapped about what kind of metal. Just something metal you can boil water in. It could be a tin can, you know, just a peach can, one of those big old peach cans. Boil water, throw the water in there, bam, you have food, you know, and that's a great way. Take some water, take some food. When you can stabilize the situation, you'll be so glad you have it. And you can get some chow and start thinking clearly and start formulating the way you're going to run your rescue and those around you, how you're going to help them as well. I told you I had a few other things of food. There again is another zip organizational pouch. Take as many candy bars as you can fit in there. It says Nut and Fancy. Why? Because if someone, again, you may be sharing these. I won't say may, you will be. Everybody's going to want these. You know that's true. Because they're going to be in shock, they're going to be starving, and there's nothing like food to lift the spirits of a survivor. Fit as many of these types of things as you can. Here's, again, don't get wrapped up about the type. This is like a nutrition bar. It's called Zone, dark chocolate, whatever. You know, I don't care. Milky Way. Now, how about the write-off concept? Nut and Fancy, you say when it's in the kit, it's always in there. Yeah, it is. And your temptation, dude, you're going to have this in the office with you. You're going to like, crap, I got some Milky Ways in my U.S.K. I think I'm going to raid it. Raid away, but you better replenish it. What I do is just write it off. I just pretend they don't even exist. And maybe every 6 months, maybe at least every year, replace them. Keep them in there. I could probably fit a couple more in there. Fit as many as you possibly can. Weight, you know, the SAWC will afford you. Because these are going to go fast. And they're going to really help out whoever's left. On we go. All right, here we go. Dust masks. I told you just like in 9/11, you saw all those people with bandanas and towels and washcloths and jackets and shirts over their face, trying not to breathe the debris. Okay, that's one reason you need a dust mask and a filtration system of some kind. I only have 2 in this U.S.K. because of SAWC. Okay, and this one is better. It's kind of a, you know, a poor man's respirator mask. If I could fit it, and I told you I was going to show you options, is in my U.S.K. I'd wear this. Okay, and this is what I Duracoat with now, an AO safety respirator, and it rocks. It's very good. It seals a lot better than these will. It filters out all the particulates, not all of them, but most of them. Has 2 filtration elements, high quality, nice suspension system. There's lots of different brands. I've been pretty happy with this one, the AO safety respirator. I can't fit it in the U.S.K. SAWC. But I have something. I have 2 of these. Ideally, I'd have enough room to store them in plastic so they wouldn't be crushed. See how this one in storage is kind of getting deformed a little bit? That's life. That's just the way it's going to be. Got an alley hair on that one. Standard. Silly dog. But yeah, it's something, and it's a great way to not breathe that crap. Another reason is you may have some dead bodies there. Okay? Just going to keep it real with you. Happened in 9/11. You're going to have probably some funky smells there. I'd want to filter those out the most I can. This won't do much, I know that. Better than nothing though. Mainly for dust particulates is what you use this for. Sunglasses. Why sunglasses? Because even though day to day, most people, most dudes, most gals have sunglasses, you're not going to have them when this all kicks off. You're probably going to leave them at your desk. You're going to be in your vehicle. You just won't have them. This is kind of a standalone concept for the U.S.K, right? So sunglasses, definitely have them in there. Protect them. This is a hard-sided eagle case, the best I've ever found. Sadly, they changed the design on it. It's not as cool as it used to be. Still pretty cool though. And also, and that's why I'm bringing it up now, along with a filtration mask, a set of safety glasses. Don't get wrapped up about the type. Make sure they're fairly clear. These are just basic shooting glasses. And I found this speed. God, Allie's got her hair over everything. Check that out. Silly dog. This is just a cheap sunglass case. Like most of the stuff I'm showing you, bought on clearance. This was like $1 at Target when I saw it. And now it's functioning as a safety glass. Get them back in here. Here we go. Carry case, like that. These two things kind of go hand in hand. Ideally, if SAWC would allow it, we'd have an enclosed safety glass system, kind of like a Molay goggle, tactical goggle or something that really seals our eyes off. I don't have room for it though. Okay, and some other versions, let's see. Bought at Walmart for $5. Here's another set of lens, Z lens, professional sports safety glasses. Again, don't get really wrapped up. Do look through them though and make sure they're clear enough and good enough. But you want to have these because there might be flying debris or other things that would injure your eyes. When all this stuff goes on, you just don't know. There's a myriad of variations on the scenarios where that could happen. You know what I'm saying? So glasses, filtration masks, come in handy. Expect these to get bent, but do have them on you. If you don't, I think you might regret it. In we go, deeper into the rabbit hole. Oh, what's this? Yellow. This is a different color for Nut and Fancy's U.S.K. What this means is weapons. Defensive capability in here. And there's a variety of ways you could carry this stuff. And again, we're going to get into the legality portion of this. Don't know where you live. Don't know what your laws and regulations say you can have. I don't know what the policy is in your office building. That's all up to you to comply with or whatever you want to do. That's your choice. I've talked about that in my other videos. Okay, here we go. Weapon of choice for the U.S.K. Yes, whenever possible, I advocate having a firearm on your person. This is a Kel-Tec P3AT, previously reviewed in the Nut and Fancy project. Awesome little subcompact 380, don't you think? Accurate, reliable, super lightweight, easy to carry. What other gun would you recommend, Nut and Fancy? It just depends on what SAWC can afford you. Okay, would I want a 9mm? You know, an SP101 357? No, it's too big. You know, I don't have the weight capability. It takes up too much room. You're carrying all this on your pack. And again, let's be realistic. The likelihood you're going to use all this stuff is probably pretty slim. I'm talking about using it all. You might use pieces of it in different situations. So no, I don't want to utilize the ride-off concept. Remember that we're riding the gun off forever. We're never going to use it except for practice and training. To our survival kit, in this case, the U.S.K, the ride-off concept is kind of painful when it comes to a firearm because, you know, oh wait, I'm going out with my buddies. I want to go ahead and take the Kel-Tec. Life gets busy. You never put it back in there. Your U.S.K is incomplete. Things kick off. You don't have your gun. Okay. Size and weight constraints are very critical. You could very easily and smartly include a 22 long rifle pistol here. A 25 ACP Jetfire, previously reviewed in the Nut and Fancy project. Love that gun. But for this version, I just opted for the Kel-Tec 380. Okay, carry system. And you're going to have a carry system for the gun. Uncle Mike's Sidekick size 10 holster, modified by me, Nut and Fancy, to carry an extra magazine. Years ago I did that, long before I did TMP. I've worn this ankle holster a long time. Wait a minute, Nut and Fancy, I thought you said you didn't like ankle holsters. I generally don't. For everyday concealed carry, I think I generally don't like it. There's a reason for this too. I usually go with something bigger. And remember, we're talking about something different here. We're talking daily, everyday carry and rule of law. I go with something bigger for me than a Kel-Tec P3AT. Generally, it's going to be a Kel-Tec PF9, a CAR, PM9. You know, maybe for some guys, it's a Glock 36 45 ACP. You know, lots of good options there. But for the U.S.K, the Urban Survival Kit, we're talking about, you know, lightweight, compact, reliable. defensive options, and this is one of them. By the way, this is wearing a Packmeyer little rubber grip, which I think helps immensely to the traction of the gun. Nicely done. But the Sidekick holster is a good carry system because it's easily concealed depending on what type of pants you have, right? Fits the gun, hides the gun. Remember in my video, the concealed carry protocol, talked about some of those considerations. Do I show the gun? With a gun like this, absolutely not. You're generally not going to intimidate anybody with a gun like that. So you're better to carry deep, keep it a surprise, keep it under wraps, use it only as a last resort. All the judgment and judgment call and wisdom that goes along with that decision, like I've previously discussed at length, goes with that. Other carry systems you could have, and I think I have, actually I did have it right here, Uncle Mike's clip holster, size 10 as well. By the way, most of everything I'm showing you is very affordable. Granted, the gun's going to cost money. Talked about that in the review, but very affordable. These are not expensive holsters, but they function well, they're high value, and they work, just like most of the stuff I talk about in the Nut and Fancy project. Okay, and it works. So I actually have two different ways to carry the Kel-Tec P3AT in this particular version of the U.S.K, and that's good because maybe I have an injury on my leg. I can't use my ankle holster. It's good to have options. Remember, there's that principle of redundancy again, just like I said in the foundational opening. Good to have it. How many rounds do I take? Good question. First off, carry an extra magazine. This is that very awesome rip-off brand clip. Bought at a cop shop, Skaggs Police Supply, and there's the address there. You can contact them, see if they still make it. Probably the best 380 mag carry system I found. It completely encloses the magazine, which maybe slows down speed a little bit, but it retains it and keeps it clean. And there's an extra mag for the P3AT, loaded up, 90 grain Federal Hydra shocks in there. Pretty effective 380 load, by the way. Love it. At least one extra mag. Do I have more than one mag? More than two mags? I don't know. It's up to you. We're not going to try to fight our way out of a situation. We're going to try to get the heck out of there. This is last ditch, maybe. Navy SEAL behind enemy lines. Highly outnumbered, highly outgunned. Don't kid yourself. You don't have a lot of firepower. There's absolutely no way you will. I got two extra boxes of this ammo I just told you about. 380, 90 grain, Hydra shock, jacketed hollow point, and there's a call number right there. Probably my favorite 380 load, and I'm in league with a lot of police officers on that who use it as a backup gun. So how many rounds I have? 50 plus a couple more. Not a lot. Not a lot. Like I said, don't think you have to go with a P3AT. Don't think you have to have a 380. It could be whatever gun you want. One that you're willing to apply the write-off concept to. And I would say this too. One that's reliable. Okay, that you've proven that's fairly reliable. I said 22 long rifle. Yes, I know there's some attendant reliability issues with them. That 25 caliber Jetfire, not currently being made, I believe. Another awesome choice. Last ditch, yes, lethal force option, but bad things happen when, as you've seen and as history has proven in the cities. Sorry, it's good to have options. Like I've always said, being armed gives you options. Next thing, Adventure medical kits, thermal bivy. Talked about that. Actually, this is another redundancy item. This is a full-size bivy bag. They've changed the design on this just a little bit. I'll try to roll a picture in front of you what the new one looks like. These are around $20, $25. A little bit on the pricey side. But remember, there's no way I can roll in a tent into this, okay? But this is kind of a miniature sleeping bag. Like I said, I believe in my emergency survival, the extended stay, backpacking vid, and also in High Skies, I talked to this as well. To treat shock, you might be sleeping in a building somewhere where you were able to get away from somewhere. Extricate yourself to a safer location, and this blows away a space blanket. Okay, the space blanket again is, going to let heat out. You have to wrap it around. I just think they're kind of hokey. I don't like the space blanket option. Thermal bivy all the way, if you can take the size. Remember, there's a 23-pound kit I'm showing you. Okay, and along with those 23 pounds comes a certain amount of bulk. Like I'm showing you, part of it is what you're seeing here. I have this. I have a miniature Adventure medical kits bivy as well, secondary in nature. Why? Because I might be treating patients. I might be come across someone who's dying. They need to be warmed up, treated for shock. I'm going to do that. Awesome, awesome addition though, if you can take it. Not super light, about 8-9 ounces if I'm not mistaken. Next up, there's a water filter. Remember I told you it was buried, we'd get to it. don't get wrapped up on the water filter. This used to be Pure brand, Katadyn, bought Pure, so now they've just relabeled it. This is basically a Pure Hiker. Okay, now it's called the Katadyn Hiker. Why this, and why not a more compact water treatment option? Again, so I have a storage capability. Remember, my water system could be compromised. I could be filtering out of a city water fountain. Remember that? This is what will do it. I don't want a straw. I think they're kind of hokey, you know, where I'm sucking through a straw. I just think they're hokey. Instead, I'd rather have this. More weight, more bulk, but I can treat or give water to a lot of people with this. And I dig it. And by the way, all the adapters screw on and mate to all the bottles I have. This one, the wide mouth Nalgene canteen, which I showed you, they all do that. Painful though, it's a write-off concept. Okay, it's going to be dedicated to the Urban Survival Kit and it goes bye-bye forever. That sucks, doesn't it? It does suck, but I don't know a way around it, guys. I just don't. Watch the sales. Now, some guys say, well, that's too expensive of a water filter. No, it's not. Dude, I bought this for like 29 bucks on sale. I can't remember. I have several of these, some dedicated to the BOKs for the Nut and Fancy family. But no, very affordable. Maybe 35 bucks. I mean, normal price around 50 on the Katadyn Hiker. And again, I keep all the instructions in there. All the hoses are in there. A cheaper way, maybe a lighter way to do this. You know, water treatment tablets. You could do it that way, like I've shown you in some other videos, right? Roll those in, not a filter, much more compact. Remember, if your weight and size, SWAC, remember that? If those apply, then maybe you ditch this and just go with tablets. Or, you know, you could use one of those, what do we call them? This suck filters or straws or whatever they're called. Oh, you guys are going to dig this. Ah, pulling the big mamma jamma out from the Nut and Fancy. Oh, dude, I'm coming to the end of this segment already. I'm out of time. Probably a good time to end. Huh, what's in there? The Nut and Fancy Urban Survival Kit? Well, guess what? You're going to have to come back to part 3 to find out. Lots of cool stuff in here, and it really drives to the heart of the differences, in some ways, for my Nut and Fancy Urban Survival Kit philosophy. That's part 2. Thanks, dudes. We covered a lot of stuff. And I'm going to try to wrap it up in a part 3. And then we'll call it quits with that. I hope. Thanks so much for coming with me on this journey of how to be self-reliant and prepared in urban settings when things go bad. We'll see you in part 3. Nut and Fancy.